Good readers read words correctly and try to understand their meanings. When they have trouble with a word, they pause to self-correct. So as you read aloud, stop if a word doesn't sound right and think about its meaning and then correct it before you move on. I'm going to model this by reading The Art Contest. Every year, Honeywell School had an art contest. Each student made a project in art class, and the projects were displayed in the gym. Mr. Murphy, the art teacher, picked a first, second, and third place for each grade. He announced the winners at a big show with the parents. It was a big deal. John was sitting in art class. He whispered softly to his friend Mike, "I don't know what to make for this year's contest." "Well, what did you do last year?" asked Mike. "Ugh, don't remind me," John said. "I painted a fire truck that came out like a red blob. It was the worst painting in the universe." "Oh, I remember it now," said Mike. "It wasn't that bad." "Excuse me, boys," Mr. Murphy interrupted. "You should be working, not talking." "But I can't think of anything to do!" exclaimed John. "Start by closing your eyes," said Mr. Murphy. John closed his eyes and said, "I see black." Mike and the rest of the class laughed. "Okay, I'm serious," said Mr. Murphy. "We can all try this. Close your eyes and think of something beautiful or interesting or even ordinary. It could be a butterfly you saw. It could be something magical that you dreamed." One by one, the other kids in the class had ideas. John tried and tried, but he still couldn't think of anything. Soon the bell rang, and it was time to go home. That night, John sat quietly at dinner. He kept thinking about the art contest, but he couldn't think of an idea. Then his mom saved the day. "Oh, what a pretty sunset," she said, and pointed out the window at the field behind their house. "That's it," John said. "I'll paint a sunset." At the next art class, John used a pencil to sketch what he had seen. He kept erasing and starting over because he couldn't get it just right. Mr. Murphy came over to look. "Why are you erasing so much, John?" he asked. "One of the best things about art is that it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be anything other than what it is and what you make it." John took a new sheet of paper and sketched the sunset again. "It's not bad," he thought. At the next class, it was time to finish the project. John opened some paints and took a deep breath. The painting started out fine, but then the colors started to run into one another. "Oh no!" John cried. "The paint isn't staying inside my marks. My project is ruined. Not again!" Then John remembered what Mr. Murphy had said about how art doesn't have to be perfect, and he relaxed. He finished the painting and showed it to Mr. Murphy. "That is a wondrous sunset," said Mr. Murphy. "I love the way that the colors mix and how the setting sun is reflected in the trees and shrubbery." John agreed. The painting wasn't perfect, but it was beautiful. Maybe it would even win a prize. All right, I have 4 questions for you based on what you just heard. I'd like you to pause the video and answer the question with your learning adult. Just a quick discussion about the question. What is John's problem at the beginning of the story? How does Mr. Murphy try to help John? How do you think John feels when he's trying to draw the sunset, and how can you tell? How do you think John feels at the end of the story?